Hi, so you should have received a kit of parts. Let's just go through each item in the kit of parts to make sure you understand what all the different pieces are. This we're calling the board. This is the base of the robot, so everything's going to sit on top of here and the wheels will go on the sides. This is pegboard. You can use anything, and in fact when you prototype it you're going to make this out of cardboard. You should have this. This is called a breadboard. It's what you're going to plug all of the wires into that control the motors. You should have two of these packages. They might not look exactly like this, but what's inside should be the same. What's inside looks like this. This is an ultrasonic sensor. It's called an ultrasonic range finding sensor, and it will tell you how far you are away from something in front of it. So again, you should have two of those sensors. You should also have two of these printed sensor mounts. These mounts are going to be able to hold the sensor if you press it very, very carefully through the hole here, and then this ends up clipping on the front of your board that way. So, two sensors, two sensor mounts. You should also have a chip that looks like this. This is a motor controller. Your motor controller chip might already be on your breadboard. You should have two different battery packs. You should have a battery pack that holds 4 AA batteries, and you should have a smaller battery pack that holds a 9-volt battery. Oh gosh. This is for powering your Arduino. This is for powering your motors. You should have something that looks like this. This is what we're calling the ball caster standoff. What it does is this is the third wheel on your robot, and it's not a wheel that's powered. It bolts on the bottom here, and it will just drag around wherever the other motors tell it to go. Yours may not have a ball in it. The ball would be separate on some of them. You should have an Arduino microcontroller, and it might not be in a box like this. It might be in its own baggie, but it's a board that looks like this. You should have a USB cable. This is how you connect your Arduino to the computer to upload programs to it. You should have a small baggie of hardware, and we'll actually talk about what the different pieces are here in a second. You should have keep all your stuff in the bag. You should have two motors that look like this. Your motors will not have anything attached to them. I've already attached wires here to the end of this motor. And in addition to the two motors, you're also going to have these two. These are motor mounting brackets. As you can see, the motor has an output shaft, a little plastic nubbin, and two holes. And those are supposed to line up here with this hole is for the output shaft, that hole is for the plastic nubbin, and these two holes line up with those two holes. So it presses perfectly on top, just like that. And the idea is this mounting bracket is supposed to hold your motor in place, so that way you can attach it on the bottom here and put the wheels on. So you should have the two motor mounting brackets, you should have two motors. You're going to have a whole bunch of different cables. But there's really only two different important types of cables. You're going to have a whole bunch of really short cables with pins on both ends. These are called male-to-male cables. You'll be using these to connect your microcontroller to the sensors and to the motors. Your board is going to look like this, where you have your Arduino microcontroller, and you're going to be using these guys to plug into the pins on the one side and the breadboard on the other side. So you should have approximately 20 of these, maybe a couple more, maybe a couple less. You're also going to have these longer ones that have kind of square housings up here, a pin on one side, and on the other side, a place that you could plug a pin into. These are called male to female cables. These are the ones that you're going to attach to the range-finding sensors. Because as you can see, the range-finding sensor has 4 pins that you're going to need to attach here. I think maybe that's it. Oh, you should also have an Allen wrench. Now let's look at what's in the hardware bag. In the hardware bag, you're going to have a whole number of these right angle brackets. There's going to be 2 different types of machine screw on the inside here. You're going to have a whole bunch of these little tiny short machine screws. These are called button socket cap 632 machine screws. If you're curious what that means, look at the more details video on the right hand side of the webpage. You can see that they also have a special type of driver that are required, which is the Allen wrench here. So that's why we put it in the kit, was so that you could use this. These fit into the right angle brackets, and the right angle brackets already have threading in them, so you can actually try just with your hands if you want to. You can see that they screw in just fine. So you have a whole lot of those. In addition to those, you also should be getting four screws that look like this. They're about 1.25 inches long, I think. These are called 440 screws, machine screws. These are the ones that go through the holes in the motor. And they're special. They need to be long enough to go through the motor and also thin enough to go through the hole in the motor. That's it. That's the kit.